Welcome to Alive and Well, the podcast for the new era of high achievers. You're done burning out, and you're ready to lead, work, and live in a rhythm that honors both your brilliance and your body. I'm your host, Michelle Grosser. I'm a trial attorney turned nervous system strategist, and I've lived the burnout story. I know what it's like to chase your goals at the expense of your well-being. And I also know it doesn't have to be that way. Here, we're redefining success. It's where productivity feels peaceful, boundaries feel like freedom, and energy comes from within. Each week, I'll share practical tools for nervous system regulation, time mastery, and somatic strategies so you can show up with clarity, calm, and confidence in every part of your life. Because you, my friend, were given a spirit of power, love, and a sound mind. So here's to life and living it fully. This is the path to feeling alive and well. Let's dive in. What's up, you guys? It's Michelle here. Welcome to Alive and Well. I'm really pumped to talk to you today in this episode because we're going to talk about habits. And we're going to talk about how they impact our nervous system, but we're not going to talk about the big obvious things that stress us out, right? Like we all know those when we're, not getting along with our partner, or when our kids are not listening, or they're fighting with each other, or maybe it's financial stress, or it's a huge work deadline, or a difficult client, or a health matter. Like those things, of course, matter, obviously. And they have massive impact on the state of our nervous system. But those aren't the typical day-to-day, right? So oftentimes it's the little everyday things, the things that we do by default that we might not even be aware of, that we may have been doing forever, the lifestyle things that often keep our nervous system running in this state of dysregulation. And I know firsthand because for years, like a lot of you, I would assume, I prided myself on just being the one who could do a ton, right? Like I could handle it all. I didn't really slow down. I woke up early. I went all day long, go, until past my bedtime. I thought it was a strength of mine, right? I'm just like, I'm high capacity. I'm low maintenance. I wore it all like a badge of honor. Some of that is really awesome. Other parts of that was really toxic and harmful to my health and my nervous system. And I think for so long, I didn't realize that I wasn't actually like calm, cool, and collected like I thought I was. I was actually numb, right? I was just kind of like going through the motions and moving at the speed of light, draining my nervous system with all of these habits I had every day that I kept. And when we do that, it's not so much that we're just under constant chronic stress. It's that we kind of become brittle. It's like we're overreactive. Our bandwidth shrinks. Our capacity shrinks. So what I want to do today is I want to walk you through 7 everyday habits that might be impacting your nervous system probably more than you think. And where you kind of recognize yourself as I'm going through these, I think it's really cool because awareness is always the first step to change, right? Know better, do better. Okay, before we jump in, if you have left the show a 5-star rating or a short review recently, I just want to thank you personally. I am so grateful for you. I'm grateful you listen. I'm grateful you're along for the ride. You're just so valuable to us here at Alive and Well. And if you haven't yet left the show a 5-star rating, a short review, and you like the show, maybe you've learned something, right? Maybe you've put something into practice that's been helpful. Maybe you've even shared it. Love all of that. So grateful. And if today could be the day that you leave a 5-star rating and a short review, holy moly, that would mean the world to me. Because most of all, it helps get the show in front of other women who also need these tools. And that's why I'm doing what I'm doing. So thanks so much. Really grateful if you could leave a review and a rating today. Okay, so let's jump into these 7 habits. Some of them, I think you're going to be like, oh yeah, that's obvious. Other ones, I think might be little light bulb moments for us as we go through it and realize, man, you know what? I'm going to play around with this. I'm going to get curious. I'm going to stop doing this or start doing this and see if I notice an impact in how I feel, right? And the state of my nervous system. Habit number 1, overthinking and mental loops. Overthinking. I think we start here because if you're anything like me, this one probably hits close to home. Our brains are wired to be prediction machines, right? That's one of their main jobs, is to be able to anticipate things that might go wrong, things that might be stressful, things that might feel like a threat to us, so we can get ahead of it, right? So we can solve some of these problems before they happen. It's a survival skill. But in modern life, in our day-to-day now, we're not running from lions and tigers and bears, right? That skill, the ability to predict and solve problems before it happens, that skill often gets hijacked. So instead of listening for, I don't know, some scary animal that's in the brush, or, not wanting to eat a brightly colored plant because it might be poisonous, our brains aren't scanning for that anymore. What are our brains scanning for? They're scanning for, did I say the right thing in that meeting, right? Did I use the right tone with X person? Did this person mean what they said when they said that to me? Have I forgotten something with the kids, right? How am I going to get everything done for tomorrow? All of these things are what our brain is processing all day long. And it's what the neuroscience calls cognitive looping. The prefrontal cortex in our brain, right? That logical part of our brain is just always running these simulations. What if, right? Do I have this? What if this happens? Then how will I respond? What if, all of it, right? And each time it does that, our amygdala, our brain's little alarm system, it lights up as if the what ifs that we're running through our mind are all actually happening. So it's not just like, what if I don't have time to get that project finished today? Our brain is actually processing as though that scenario was actually happening. So what happens? The result is that we just get this steady drip of stress hormones, even when we're just thinking about things that could go wrong and nothing's actually going wrong. So overthinking, it's not just mental space. It's not just taking up brain power, right? It's not just burning mental energy. It's actually hijacking your nervous system and sending it into chronic sympathetic activation, your fight or flight. So you're essentially living in fight or flight mode because of the thoughts that you're having and the worst case scenarios and the scarcity mindset around time and resources and help and all of these things without us even realizing it. So I think a fix here, a first step here, if this resonates for you, is just start to notice when your mind starts doing that kind of looping, that overthinking, right? And pause, catch it, pause and ask yourself, is this actually a problem that I can solve right now? Right? Is this actually true? And if so, do I have any control over it? And if the answer is yes, take the small action, do the thing to move the needle, right? Fix it, plan it, write it down, send the text, ask for the help, whatever it is you need to do, and get it done. And if not, release it. Release it, surrender it, interrupt that thought pattern, right? Let it go. If it helps, and I think it does, pair it with a grounding practice, right? Get into your body for a second. Just 30 seconds of shaking, body tapping, slowing your breathing. All of that will start to teach your brain that it doesn't have to kind of chase every single thought that comes upon it. And that can be really helpful. So the first habit that really impacts your nervous system is this. It's overthinking and mental loops. The second one is also something that I can still really get sucked into so quickly. Rushing and doing everything quickly. Y'all, this is huge, especially for us who have a lot going on and are juggling all the balls, right? Like, how often do you eat standing up or just eat whatever was left on the counter from breakfast, or eat in the car, or eat at your desk, or eat while you're doing something else, right? You're like half chewing while trying to type an email, or like everything is being done while something else is being done. And we're rushing through all of it. And then we're barking at our kids to do the same thing and hurry up and get it together and move quicker and grab this and don't forget that and put your shoes on faster, 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 because we're late. And I used to live this as a way of being, right? I thought speed was efficiency until, by the grace of God, I had the revelation that is supported by the science, right? That when we rush, our body perceives that as danger. And if you think about it, it seems so obvious. Like, duh, if I'm rushing around all day long, it makes sense that to my primitive self, there is a part of that where I am trying to like escape something, right? Or hurry up. My breathing probably changes and becomes more rapid and shallow. My muscles tense because I'm just like running around everywhere, worried I'm going to be late, right? My eyes are darting around. All of these things are physical signals of threat to our nervous system. And then what happens, right? Our fight or flight is activated. Our body doesn't know the difference between rushing to get to school drop off on time or like running from a predator. To our body, fast is unsafe. Rushing is unsafe, right? Urgency means we're trying to get away from something that's unsafe. The opposite is also true. Slowing down signals safety to our nervous system. When you make it a habit of rushing, you're conditioning your nervous system into chronic stress, right? That trickles down into so many other symptoms and physical things going on in our body, digestive issues, headaches, things with our mood, irritability, edginess, right? Because our body thinks we're in danger and it's going to start to deprioritize our non-essential systems and functions, i.e. digestion, reproduction, immune function, right? All these things that are so important, and we don't want to be suppressed because we don't actually need to conserve energy to fight or run from a tiger. We just need to get our kids to school on time. And the antidote, you guys, buffer time. Buffer time. I've gotten so good at building in extra time between tasks because I used to just delude myself, right? I can get there in 15 minutes. No, Michelle, you've never gotten there in 15 minutes ever in the history of time. Like, since you've lived in this neighborhood and gone this route, like you've never done it in 15 minutes. Why do you keep thinking you can get there in 15 minutes, right? So I've just started building in extra time. If I think I can get there in 15 minutes, then I give myself 25, right? If I think that I can put meetings back to back with just 2 minutes in between so that I can run to the bathroom and take a sip of water, no, now I'm going to put 15 minutes in between my meetings. So I'm not rushing everywhere, right? If I think I only need 15 minutes to shower and get ready in the morning to do what I have to do right before my first coaching call or my first meeting or bringing my kids to school, no, that's ridiculous, right? I need at least 35 minutes if I'm not going to be rushing out the door like a mad woman. Build it in. Give yourself margin, right? And if you get somewhere early, my kid set this up in the car and I love it so much. They sit in the back seat, obviously, and on the back of the driver's seat and the passenger seat, there's that little like net basket thing where you can put stuff. They took a little note card and they wrote library on it and they taped it to the back of the driver's seat and the front passenger seat. And back there they put, I don't know, like 2 or 3, 4 books each. Because guess what? If we get somewhere early, one, we get there and nobody in the car is in fight or flight because we haven't been rushing. Everyone's in a good mood, right? Everyone's at ease. Everyone's ready for soccer practice or piano or school or whatever we're going to, right? And if we get there early, it means you get to sit in the car and read a chapter or 2 of your book before we have to walk in. And holy moly, does my body and my brain thank me for that. Because moving slowly and not rushing tells my nervous system that it's safe. And then lo and behold, right? If I run into, like where we live in Houston, there's a train that runs through town. Like if I'm on my way to drop off and I hit that train, thank you, Lord, that I have 15 extra minutes, right? Built into my commuting time so I'm not late. Or if I just hit traffic or there's construction or there's a detour or like whatever it is, I'm at least in a better position than if I had already left late. And that is just so good for my nervous system. Okay, so rushing. Can we try to put some margin in there and rush less? I think so. The third thing, and this is a biggie. constant stimulation. I'm not just talking about constant like screen time. I'm talking about all of the things that are coming at us in the course of a day. And I'm not just talking about screen time and scrolling through social media. I'm talking about everything that is coming at us, right? Our nervous systems were designed to live in a world with like sunrises and sunsets and the sounds of birds calling in the morning and, moving our body and just being able to hear the rustle of the wind in the trees. Now that sounds like some weird fairy tale, or maybe not weird fairy tale, some idyllic fairy tale. And it's just not the reality for most of us in the day to day. We live in a world of Slack pings and news alerts and notifications and constant email and loud kids shows and TikTok scrolls and fluorescent lighting and, always having a TV show or a podcast playing in the background. Every time we're hit with stimulation, you guys, especially notifications, hit of adrenaline, right? Every late night, doom scroll, WebMD scroll, planning a trip you're probably never going to take. Like that blue light in the evening suppresses melatonin production. It spikes cortisol, 1-2 punch, right? And then it robs you of what you actually need, which is restorative sleep. Constant noise. I don't know about you, but when I get to a certain part of the day, like around the dinner hour, like everything feels like too much. And I will just go around the house sometimes, dimming all the lights, right? Turning off the sounds, just taking it all down. Sometimes I'll just put in my noise blocking headphones and not have anything playing because constant noise will keep your vagus nerve, the main brake pedal essentially for your nervous system, from doing its job. And it's not about demonizing technology. It's just about awareness and intention, right? Can we recognize that constant input, constant information, constant requests, constant demands, constant sounds and noises and all of these things is not neutral. It keeps your nervous system in high alert. So if you want to start here, I think this is a great place to start. A simple shift I'd offer you guys. Can you just like bookend your day and protect your mornings and your evenings, right? What would it look like to not even have your hands touch your phone for the first 30 minutes of your day after you wake up, right? What would it look like to do the same thing after dinner or even before dinner? Put your phone in another room to charge it. Put it in a pantry, put it in a drawer, put it somewhere you're not going to see it, and then go on with your day. Just that boundary can have a huge impact on the state of your nervous system. Don't knock it till you've tried it. I've had so many clients come back to me and they're like, man, I've known for the last 15 years that I shouldn't bring my phone to bed with me. I know, and I do it anyway, right? And then it wasn't until I started working with you and actually did this that I cannot get over how much better I'm sleeping, right? I cannot get over how much better my mornings go and my days go when I'm not starting my day with that hit of cortisol and adrenaline that's coming at me. If I pick up my phone and just decide to check my emails and scroll through the news really quick to start the day, instead of having the boundary and the self-control to put it away and start my day for me, right? That will make a huge difference. Number 4. We talked about this. I just did an episode about suppressing emotions. If this hits, if this resonates, go listen to that one. But man, emotions, anger, sadness, disappointment, the big uncomfortable emotions, especially for us women, you guys, we're so socialized to believe that those emotions are just no place for it. They're too much. So what do? We bottle them up, we suppress them, we deny them, we push them back down. But the neuroscience is so clear on this, you guys. Emotions are not just feelings, they're actually physiological events. It's not just that I feel frustrated. It's that when that frustration comes through, there is a chemical cascade in our body that's designed to help us deal with frustration and the things that frustrate us. But when we don't do anything with all of that, right, those chemicals are coursing through our body and we just suppress and hold it in and don't let it out and just recycle all of that, our anger turns into resentment and our sadness turns into numbness, and our stress starts to leak out in all of these ways that aren't healthy, right? Irritability, control, passive aggression, pick your poison. And physiologically, suppression raises cortisol. It's a stressor on our body. It'll weaken your immune system. It'll decrease your vagal tone. You're literally exhausting your nervous system by pretending that you're okay when you're not, by pretending that it's fine when it's actually not fine. So healthy release of especially these big uncomfortable emotions, it doesn't have to be drama. It doesn't have to be this whole big thing, right? It can be, can I set a timer on my phone for 2 minutes and allow myself to just journal about it honestly, or cry in the shower, or move my body and stomp my feet and shadow box in the kitchen, or do some wall pushes or scream into a pillow until all of that activating energy has a chance to dissipate and leave my body, right? Can I let that energy move through me instead of continuing to hold it in, which is so dysregulating to the nervous system? All right, 3 more. Number 5. And this is when I've really started to get pretty strict about for myself as far as my boundaries go in the last, 2 or 3 years. The habit of not having a nighttime wind down routine will impact your nervous system, because predictability is safety to our nervous system. Rhythm and routines create predictability, which creates safety in our nervous system. Our nervous system craves rhythm. Our nervous system craves predictability. Just like our kids need consistent bedtimes and bedtime routines, so do we. We don't outgrow that. But so many of us go until way after when we should be going to bed, right? And then it's like the glass of wine to wind down, or I'm just going to check and respond to that one email, or I'm going to watch Netflix on my, iPad in bed as I get sleepy. The problem here is that you're just asking your nervous system to slam on the brakes without any warning, right? If you just go from your day doing, planning, thinking, responding, all of that input we were just talking about, and then expect your body to magically be able to just flip a switch and turn it all off and go into a deep parasympathetic state where you can get rest and just restorative sleep, right? And digest and repair all of those things, it's just not going to happen. We can't slam on the brakes without warning. Our body isn't wired to do that. We need to be able to gradually shift from the sympathetic energy of the day, being alert and active, into our parasympathetic state where we can rest and repair. That's why so many of us who don't have nighttime wind down routines are chronically waking up at 2 or 3 a.m. And having a really hard time falling back to sleep. There's a few different reasons for that wake up time. But one of them is that because we're going all day and then we just pass out and there's no downtime for our body to transition states, we get hit with this cortisol spike at 2 or 3 a.m. because our system never fully downshifted. So just starting with a simple ritual, guys, here. I know we all have a lot to do. I'm not talking about like a 2-hour thing, but for me, it's like by 8:30, I'm in bed, and I replaced the light bulbs in the lamps on our nightstands to just like this tiny little red lamp that I bought on Amazon. So the lighting in my room when I'm going to bed at night is conducive to rest and to sleep, right? So dim your lights. If you can get an amber colored light or a red light to read by, awesome, even better. Put your screens away. Like if you're going to be strict about anything as it relates to like getting good rest and going to sleep, put those screens away. Don't even bring them into your bedroom with you. And then before you get into your bed, like once you've done whatever it is you do to get ready for bed, brush your teeth, wash your face, skincare, what have you, like, can you just stretch, right? Can you lay on the floor, lay on your bed and put your legs up the wall while you pray or while you read or while you meditate? 5 minutes, 10 minutes, right? Instead of what you might normally otherwise do. Doing this instead, dimming the lights, turning off your screens, and then stretching or prayer or reading will cue your body that it's safe to shut it off for a little bit, right? It's safe to let it go for a little bit. Sleep is coming. This is necessary. Everything's still going to be there in the morning, and we'll get to it when the time comes. Your sleep quality will skyrocket when your nervous system knows that it's time and it's safe to restore. So that's number 5. Number 6, the 6th habit that impacts your nervous system, and I ran this for the longest time, holy moly, the caffeine alcohol loop. And this one I think can be very sneaky because it just seems like the normal thing that people do. You have caffeine coffee first thing in the morning to ramp things up. And then at the end of the day, when you're trying to take the edge off and wind down, you have a glass of wine or a cocktail or what have you, right? Super familiar, super common. But the physiology shows us that that's not a great loop to be in. Coffee, I have coffee every single day. I have it in the morning. I don't have it first thing when I wake up. When I wake up, I chug a glass of water, and then I walk my dogs, and then I come inside, and then I usually have hard-boiled eggs in the fridge, and I'll take 2 out, and I'll cut them in half, and I put a little salt and pepper, and I'll eat that as my coffee is brewing. And then by the time my coffee has cooled down enough for me to sip on it while I'm having my morning quiet time, that's like 30, 40 minutes after I've woken up, right? The reason I do that is because caffeine spikes cortisol and adrenaline. When you wake up in the morning, there's actually a natural cortisol spike that happens in order to bring you out of consciousness and wake you up. When you're already at peak cortisol levels to wake up in the morning, and then the first thing you do is dump a bunch of caffeine into your body, you're adding fuel to the anxiety fire. And I ain't got time for that. So it feels like energy, but it's actually really borrowed from your stress system, right? You're not actually giving yourself energy in the morning. Believe it or not, caffeine doesn't give us energy. It can sharpen our focus, but caffeine actually just mutes our signals of tiredness, right? So it doesn't actually give us energy. So we're actually borrowing from our stress system when we feel like we get a jolt from having coffee. And then by afternoon, what happens? We crash, right? We reach for sugar, we reach for another cup of coffee, and then evening comes and we are zapped and we're feeling wired but tired, and we know we need rest, but it's hard to unwind. So alcohol naturally feels like the go-to to take the edge off, right? It's slightly sedative, but it also fragments your sleep. And it keeps your nervous system dysregulated. And then over time, that loop of like boost in the morning with coffee and then wind down to take the edge off and chill out with a glass of wine or cocktail, that keeps your HPA axis, your body's stress hormone system on this kind of roller coaster, right? It's like upper in the morning, downer at night. And your nervous system has a hard time finding baseline, and then breaking that loop becomes difficult. Does it mean you never have coffee or wine? Of course not. Of course not, right? Like, let's be real here. But it does mean being intentional about how you consume it and when you consume it, and rethinking your relationship with it, right? For me, that looks like delaying caffeine until I've had, a little bit of time between waking up and having that first cup of coffee, and also until after I put some protein and some fat in my body. As far as alcohol, again, can we be intentional about this, right? Am I having a glass of wine because I need to take the edge off? And I feel like that's the best thing that helps me do that. Rethink that, because it's probably not what your body actually needs in that moment. If you're having a glass of wine once or twice a week because that's something that you actually enjoy, right? And it's not become this kind of coping mechanism, then that's a totally different energy, right? That you're bringing to your relationship with that glass of wine. And that's very different. But just being intentional, I think is a great start here. And then finally, the last one, and I talk about this a lot and I want to talk about it even more, is a habit that includes a lack thereof of play and silliness and lightheartedness and spontaneity. Play activates the social engagement branch of your vagus nerve. Play boosts oxytocin, which is our love and connection hormone. It boosts dopamine, right? It boosts the endorphins, all these chemicals that regulate stress. And more so, or even on top of that, cherry on top, it reminds your nervous system that you're safe, right? If you were not safe, you would not be dancing around your kitchen, right? If you were not safe, you wouldn't be shooting hoops with your kids in the driveway. These are things that we do when we are safe. Our body knows that. But as adults, especially those of us who have a lot going on and are high achievers and high capacity, and there's so much to get done, never ending to-do list, the first thing that often gets whacked is our playtime, right? We're too busy. We're too serious. We're too tired. There's too much to do and not enough help. And what happens? We suffer. Our nervous systems suffer. And I've noticed this in my own life. Like when I let myself be silly and fun with my kids, right? Dancing in the kitchen, making up songs during homeschool, wrestling on the floor, like whatever it looks like, I feel more alive. I feel more energized. And the stress I carried all day long, it dissolves. So let this be your daily reminder that play isn't frivolous. It is deeply strategic. It is medicine for your nervous system. All right, so those are the 7 habits: overthinking, rushing, constant stimulation, suppressing emotions, no nighttime wind down routine, that caffeine alcohol loop, and then a lack of play. As I'm going through those, I'm willing to bet 1 or 2 of those really landed, if not more, right? These are habits that we've taken on, not for anything that needs to be shamed, but just because like life gets to be a lot, right? And we're all doing the best that we can. But awareness is a gift. And once we start to see the connection between the things that we're doing and our lifestyle and the state of our nervous system and how we're feeling, right? The energy we have, the rest that we're getting, our mood, our emotions, all of these things, we get to do something about it. We get to start making small shifts that really compound over time and add up to big change. And if you're interested and ready to go deeper on any of this, to actually rewire these patterns that build a nervous system that is steady, a nervous system that is resilient, a nervous system that is calm, that's exactly what we do inside of my signature group program. It's called Burnout Recovery Blueprint. The next cohort starts at the beginning of the year in January. So if that's something you'd be interested in, you can go to michellegrosser.com/BRB, learn all about it there. But we also have a link in the show notes for you to jump on the waitlist. So if it's something you're considering or want to hear more about, go ahead, put your name on the waitlist in the show notes. It's just a Google form. I'll collect your email so I can reach out to you. And what's going to happen is that you're going to get early access to register. So if you know you want to be in January, you can save your spot. You'll get special savings, exclusive bonuses just for the people on the wait list. So another thing, heads up, is that we're going to have a Black Friday sale for Burnout Recovery Blueprint. And that's going to be the biggest discount of the year. So keep your eyes open if you want to join us at the lowest price it's going to be offered at, because your nervous system is impacted, guys. It's impacted more than you think by the everyday things, right? It's not necessarily these big, extraordinary things that happen. It's the small, everyday habits. So start with one small shift this week, right? Maybe it's slowing down. Maybe it's being more silly. Maybe it's putting your phone away, right? Maybe it's giving your body the message that it is longing for, that you're safe. And that's enough to make such a difference. All right. Thanks for being with me today. I love y'all so much. I'll see you soon.
If you love Mommy's Podcast, leave a review.
Thanks for listening to Alive and Well. If today's episode resonated, would you do me a favor? Take 30 seconds and leave a 5-star rating and short review. It really helps to get this show out to other people just like you who could also use the information in this podcast. And if you're ready to take the next step in regulating your nervous system, download my free Nervous System Reset Guide. It's linked right in the show notes. Inside, you'll find simple, body-based practices to help you feel more clear, calm, and connected starting today. Make sure you're following the show so you don't miss out on what's coming next, because you were made to thrive. Fully alive, fully present, and fully well. I'll see you soon.